So I'm the new kid as far as being on the team here. So I've been here 4 years out of everybody here. Yeah, well, what else to say, right?
I'll be very clear. We got some younger people working.
That is true. We do have younger people.
Yeah.
We have people who are newer.
No.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, I'm the youngest at the table.
At the table, you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest at the table.
But none of us are the newest here at Secure Ideas, right? Been 11 years. Things have changed just a little bit.
It's been 11 years today.
Right, today.
Today.
Right now.
Today. Well, for a few hours.
Actually, yeah. When was it officially done?
August. Well, okay, wait.
What time? What time?
When did you convince Denise?
The
When did you convince
You don't know the
Denise
time?
I don't know the time.
Oh, my.
Oh, no, I do know the time.
Okay.
5:45.
5:45
You made that
in the
up.
morning?
You made that
No,
up.
here's how I made it up.
All right.
I did make it up. I did make it up.
Here's how I made it.
Here's what we did. Remember how the company started? You all know this.
I wouldn't. None of us were there.
We weren't there.
But you know it.
Well,
You
kind
heard
of.
the stories
All
first
right,
time.
all right. Go.
Because Kevin likes the stories.
No, I don't like the stories. And y'all make fun of me for my stories.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
Or take a drink.
Okay, I'll tell the story. So, I left in Guardians, and I went to Bank of America. And when I left in Guardians, I said to Mike Poor, who was my direct report, I reported to Mike, and I said, how much notice do you need? Because...
That was in Guardians, not Intel Guardians, right?
Right, not Intel Guardians. We're not allowed to say that.
Different company.
Did I tell you about we found Intel Guardians shirts, and Brenna wears them all the time?
That's awesome.
And every time she wears them, I text Mike a picture of them because we were supposed to destroy them. Sure. I don't know where these came from. And that's not sarcasm. I really don't know where Brenna found it. She was like in a closet or something and pulled it out. And so I said to Mike, like, how much notice do you need? I'm going to go to Bank of America. I'm going to work in the audit department. Yes,
auditor.
department.
Kevin was an
Perfect place
auditor.
for
I was going to be an auditor for 2.5 months. And Mike said, because 2 week notice, that's sure. And he's like, can you do stuff on the side? I'm like, you mean like in the evenings, weekends? I mean, I don't know. So I went to my new boss, who was not my new boss yet, and asked. And it turned out like he did something with HR and got me an exception.
Like Bank of America doesn't allow that.
That's
My
interesting.
You can't
understanding.
from Bank of America.
No.
Nobody gets that.
Actually, three.
All three of us. I'm the only one that hangs around Bank of America. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You're the only smart one.
I've been saying that for 9 years now.
So he gave me an addendum to my contract that said, and there was some rules. And so Frank DiMaggio and Denise were the original founders of the company. Frank was a guy I worked with at Blue Cross. And so Friday night I finished my job at InGuardians, and I turned in a report, and then Monday morning I started at BOA. Oh, I'm sorry, B of A.
Yeah.
And by the way, they really can't be of America since they're not in all 48 contiguous states, but that's a different issue. And I started Monday morning, and then Monday night I finished. We actually cooked. We made some steak, potatoes, and onions. Because I had just gotten a big green egg. That was like Denise's gift for the new job. She got me this big green egg, and Frank and I cooked the meal, ate dinner, and then started a pen test that night.
That's fun.
For
Friday night.
Guardians. And it was a sub, like in Guardians, subbed the work to us. Yeah. And so that's why I say, like, I don't know, 5:45. Whatever time it took to have dinner. That's good. And we started a pen test that night. And, the funny part is, I've tried thinking about it. I do not remember who we pen tested. Like,
It wasn't Carriage, was it?
it was not Carriage.
Oh, because it was in Guardians. You were subbing out from your
Carriage. And for the people who know, are like, anybody actually listen to this, that's a code name for a customer. And Carriage
we have code names for all of our customers. And
Not just one.
Yeah. Some of them are really funny, and some of them...
So, almost all of them are.
Most of them are funny to us. Maybe not funny to us.
Maybe not funny to anybody
But
else.
that way, like if we're in an airport and I'm talking, you're calling me and I'm saying, oh my gosh, I found this biggest vulnerability at
blah, blah, blah.
blah, blah, blah. I can talk about it openly without
Everybody
worrying
else knows who
about...
blah 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 is.
I do not have a code name, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, but then we realized I use that example all the time.
Yeah.
And so Carriage was our first direct customer.
They're like, this Kevin guy.
I think I can say Rob, right? Like,
Yeah.
Rob took a class from me and asked if we could do a pen test for him.
What was he thinking?
I know. But here's the thing. he's done a pen test with us at least
year,
once a year, every year.
And he has another one coming in the near future.
Yeah. And Frank and I flew there on site to do the pen test. And I have a picture where it snowed.
Yeah.
And Frank and I are both Floridians. And
White stuff,
frozen stuff on the ground.
This is the first time that you saw white stuff?
No, this was not the first time. I was at Guardians first time I saw white stuff. And then so that's the start of the company. We started, and I worked every night and every weekend for 2.5 months, 2 months and 2 weeks.
And then they decided you sucked at being an auditor.
And I decided I sucked. No, they hired me to build a red team under audit. And then 2 months into my job, they decided to reorg, right, which is what the bank does.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Every year, really, at least once a year.
Yeah, well, I happen to hit it 2 months in.
Yeah, well,
And my new boss said, we don't need a red team in audit because we have a red team. And they have actually a really good red team.
Yes.
We know many of the people that work there. And we don't need a red team. And I'm like, okay, well, and my assumption was they would transfer me to GIS or whatever. And I was like, no, we're going to fly you to Charlotte. You're going to take this class. And you're going to become an auditor. And I'm like, no. I don't think you understand. And I flew to Charlotte, and I took the class. And I still remember I sat in the back row in this auditorium seating. And the whole day, I just kept shaking my head. Because I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Like, the 3 instructors stood up and argued about the second slide. Like, the second slide they put up. All 3 of them disagreed with what it meant. And I'm like, God, I hate this. God, I hate this. God, I hate this. And I got back to my hotel room that night, and I called Denise, and I said, Denise, I can't do this. There is no way I can do this. And I said, I shouldn't say this on the recording. I said, but I'm going to kill somebody. I don't know if it's
to be
me.
clear, he does not really mean kill somebody.
It was all about the emphasis.
Yeah. And I'm like, I hate this. I hate this. It's my job, right?
Got to do it. Got to bring home a little bit of money.
Denise, who is way smarter than I am, said, quit. And I'm like, I can't quit. I've been here 2 months. There's no way. I dropped that. And
I got 2 more.
Yeah, 3. And I'm like, I can't quit. And she's like, quit. At the time I was still teaching for SANS. Mm-hmm. We were working Secure Ideas. And sometime in September, we'd actually filed the actual paperwork to be a company. It got approved. So Denise will actually argue with me quite often, especially if she hears this recording. She'll be like, August 9th is not the start of the company. Look at sunbiz.org. I'm like, no. And she agrees that I'm right, but I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And so September is when the company formed. And so I left 2 weeks later. I was out of Bank of America and full time. And then a few months later, Frank left. Decided consulting wasn't for him, and Laura came on at that point, and I don't think it was much after that you came on.
James
preceded you.
James and Jason Wood were in there before me.
Oh, I forgot Jason Wood was before you.
Yep.
I don't know how long.
Head, it was
not a long
first.
time. I don't
No.
Yeah.
But in my head, we also had Tony DeLagrange. He was a great guy.
Yeah, he was in there for a short bit.
Yeah. He also came from Bank of America.
I'm sensing a pattern.
Yeah, we hired a lot of Bank of
America folks.
If you work for Bank of America, you're looking for a job.
Start there and then go there afterwards.
Yeah, because Jason Wood went to Bank of America.
That's true. It's true. It's like an open door thing.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
They're going to send us a cease and desist.
You may not post this. You are poaching. That's it. You're done.
Right.
So
yeah, that's funny.
And we've done. I mean, we were teaching for. I was teaching for SANS. Of course, we wrote some of their courses, and I've written some of the stuff when I was at Guardians, and then when I started Secure Ideas, that's when the mobile security class I wrote that.
Yeah.
And the advanced web, not Mobisec.
Mobisec came later, right?
That was the DARPA Cyber Fast Track stuff. Mudge is awesome.
Yep.
And we did the classes, and that's one of the reasons a lot of people have talked to me about, man, it's awesome you were able to start that and you bootstrapped it, and I always hate that because we were in the best position to start a company. Yeah. I had a full-time job. I had benefits. My wife was supportive of the idea, and not only did we have all that, but we had a customer stream from Guardians.
That makes it easier.
Yeah, I mean, no. I see in my mind, it doesn't just make it easier; it makes it simple.
Possible,
right? Like I don't know that we could have gotten to where we are now if I didn't have In Guardians subbing to me.
Yeah.
And then, Bryce Galbraith subbed some work to us. That was the one we broke the production database room. And,
that was the only time that has ever happened. For customers that are interested, we have never had production downtime.
I warned them that we could break it. They had us do it anyways. Yeah. It broke it.
Disclaimer, this type of testing does occasionally cause business outages.
Small outages.
No, what amazes me...
I did say pretty sweet.
What amazes me is that, we talk to folks who, first-time pen tests, right? I've never done this before. And they're so freaked out about, oh, my gosh, don't break something. Or, the test we've got going on. And to be fair, it's a trading organization, like stock trading and stuff like this, but they're you can test from 8 p.m. on Friday to 3 p.m. on Sunday because they're so scared that something's going to break. And it's we've done this a while. You know what I mean? I don't remember the last time.
There's a better chance of you breaking it.
Who was that customer? Oh, damn, I don't remember.
The email, right?
No. The customer wrote to us and they were before you send any traffic to our systems, you have to tell us exactly how our system will respond. And we're
it's gonna do something.
Yeah. Well, no, we're you mean the exploit traffic, right? And they're no, any traffic. And I'm so port scanning? And they're yes.
All right.
And
you see,
so we know what ports are open.
We're going to send a SYN, and your system is going to send an ACK. And then we're going to send a SYN ACK. And then it's going to send an ACK.
Maybe not.
Oh, did I?
That's because you focused.
No, it's SYN ACK.
No, you said SYN, and they're going to ACK, and then we're going to send a SYN ACK, is what you said.
No, I said SYN ACK.
It was recorded.
No, we're going to have to go back.
My answer was, that's because you focus on the OSI model. And you don't know how real networks work.
Yeah, we're not gonna devolve into the OSI model. If you'd like to learn more about the OSI model, we have a CISSP mentorship program.
Oh man,
that's actually not this week, but next week.
Yeah. So you're on. For the people who don't know, Nathan and I have 9 years.
Nine.
You've been with us.
I lost track.
8.
It's too damn long.
2003, 8.5. 8.5.
So you're almost at 9, right? You're in your 9th year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's ever been a time in the time Nathan has worked with us, 1, that he hasn't fired on a regular basis, and 2, that
keep bringing him back though.
I know we fire him and he laughs and we just keep paying him. I think we forget to tell Denise he's fired.
That's what. He still keeps getting the paycheck. So
he insists that the OSI model is useless, and I insist.
No, I think that goes the other way around.
Yeah, you got that.
No, oh yeah, he says the OSI model. I'm so used to saying the OSI model is useless.
It's a theory versus practice thing.
And theory is useless.
From an academic, theoretical perspective of understanding how networks work in general, the OSI model has value.
Academically penetrate this.
Yeah. That happens at a lot of colleges, not where I went. But anyway, one thing that I've always wondered, and I don't think I've ever asked this.
God.
Professional evil.
I'm so worried.
Some people hate the professional evil moniker. Some people love it.
Yep.
Most people love it.
The real.
Where did that come from?
Do you want to know the real story or the answer I give people?
Well, it's 11 years. I think it's time for the real
I think it's time for the real one.
But where's the answer I give first?
Yeah, tell us.
Preface with the first.
Okay, the first answer is I am a marketing genius. And you'll get over there, Doug. That's the first answer. I'm a marketing genius, and I said, professional evil, that is it. It's amazing.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I was teaching, I think I was teaching 504. It doesn't matter. But in my head, it does matter.
It's your age, who knows?
Exactly, man. I'm old and farty. I don't know. And I was teaching, and I was explaining the idea of pen testing, like the idea of how you approach it, the mindset. Like Sherry Davidoff, who I worked with at In Guardians, used to say that I had an evil button, that she could give me a scenario, and I would just spout evil ideas about it. Like, oh, in that case, I would do this and this and this and this and this and this. And I remember I would tell people some things, and you always knew when you hit the thing that bothered
you see their eyes
like all of a sudden the eyes get big. It's like, well, yeah, no, I wouldn't kill somebody that way. What I would do is, and then you rattle off the attack. And the student said to me, what? And they just kept pushing. I said, I don't know. It's like you're evil, but professionally, professionally evil. And one of the students said, "Man, that should be a slogan." And I looked at him and I went, "It is."
Yes, it is.
Yes. Done. That's ours.
It's on the recording. It's
copyrighted. Totally.
That's awesome.
But that's how we came up with it.
But you know, I mean, that I think that describes in very succinct terms, it describes us, right? Like, there's a lot of companies that can run vulnerability scans and can use Metasploit and do audits and basic stuff.
And there's lots of companies that can really do good pen testing. Yeah.
Absolutely. But you know, like one of the things that I've been really impressed with the way we hire is we put emphasis on trying to figure out, can you think outside the box? Can you think like an attacker? Exactly. But no,
I'm impressed with how you hired because I'm here.
I remember when we hired John, and you know, like Eric recommended and said, "Hey, this guy John, he's great. He's a technical genius. He can do all this amazing stuff."
We have a guy named John.
Jason?
No. Who's John?
Was it Jason?
No, I'm messing around.
I don't remember.
No.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Anyways,
I'm
like
lost on the story.
There was
Eric,
a conversation
Eric
about.
We have a guy named John.
Yeah,
I know, it was a joke.
you guys are killing me.
I don't know where it is though.
He's from Denver.
I was making the joke because Nathan is one that sucks so bad with names. Like, Nathan will literally look over at somebody and go, "And your name is again?" It's like, "I've worked with you for 37 years.
This is what it's like telling a story with Kevin.
Yeah, sorry. It's also what it's like to present.
I think Eric was the same way though. Like during the interview process, we're like, here's what it's like to think like an attacker. Like, do you consider yourself
a bad guy?
A bad guy. Like, can you think with a professional evil mindset? And like these professional IT people who have worked for a large bank, they're like, "Oh, I don't know."
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, and especially like, I remember this because I was how many years? Like 3 years.
It was 3. It was funny. Your wife was supportive. My wife said, "You're going to go talk to him."
What do you mean my wife was supportive?
Of you.
I didn't. My wife was telling you.
Yes, she was.
What did you mean her?
My wife was the one saying, "You have to go talk to Jason."
Yeah.
Well,
so your wife wasn't into it. She didn't think it was a good idea.
No, she was pushing it.
She's like telling me. Like I was resisting.
Here's the thing. I mean, the thing you might not know about Eric, unless you've actually spoken to him for a while, is he is basically referred to as a paladin. He's the lawful good.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's not lawfully evil.
Not lawful evil. No, lawful good. Has to obey all the rules and all this kind of stuff.
Important.
And
we had to argue before this to make him unbutton that top button.
Yeah.
It's like, relax, have a beer, unbutton the button.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So our spouses know each other, so we hung out. It was every Christmas season.
Every Christmas.
Show up for cookie exchange kind of thing, and that's when I would talk to him, and I would say, "Hey, how are things going at the bank?" And we'd have a conversation. We finally brought him in. But this is what really gets me though. It is you came on board, and you came with this huge, amazing network Active Directory background.
Yeah.
Like, you knew all of this stuff. What was the first pen test we gave you? It was a web app.
That's what we do. What are you doing?
Wait,
on this other thing.
I was going to do on top of that. It was what operating system? I know Windows really well. Here's a Mac. Put Linux and Kali on it.
I forgot we gave you a Mac.
That's right. It was a Mac.
So we've done that. Kate comes in. She knows all the Linux stuff.
I'm doing it right now.
Here's a Windows.
Wait. You guys were like, "What should we give her?" And you were saying, "Well, let's give her a Mac." I said, "No, you gave me.
I got a Mac.
You have to give her a Windows box."
So the point is, bringing it back, thinking outside the box. Eric was able to do that very well at that point. Right?
Off bypass. It's all about off bypassing.
Yes. But I will also say you did extremely well on that web app. I mean, you tore it apart.
And for the people who don't know us, he wasn't assigned to it by himself.
Sure. No.
It's all me. Go.
But yeah, he tore it up. I remember him tearing it apart.
Well, it's better than his offer letter.
Huh?
So I start this conversation with Kevin back in December, right? Like, I'm thinking about moving.
For the people who are curious, he just looked up the original email.
Yeah.
That's
we looked at that today.
And it's
Let's get the
unread.
timeline on it.
So, because I keep everything. So we've had this conversation going on for 3 months, and we are very, very careful about hiring people, right? Like, that's a big step, right? You're taking on somebody's
I like
livelihood.
calling it careful. Really, the idea is it scares the crap out of me to hire somebody, mainly because, and I say this all the time, and I mean it, when we hire somebody, we have literally taken on responsibility to ensure that they can survive. They can
absolutely
pay their rent,
support their family,
support their family, right? Whatever it is, we take responsibility for that. Now, of course, they take some of the responsibility because they got to actually pay it.
Sure.
But like, it scares the crud out of me because, like we said, Secure Ideas was an accident.
Yeah.
There was not this big plan. Like I was talking to somebody once, and they're like, "Well, where? Like, how long did it take you to write a business plan?" I'm like, shit, it must be 11 years.
Haven't done it yet.
Man, are we supposed to have one of those?
Yeah.
But okay, go on with it.
Well, so we started talking in December, but Q1 is slow, right? Like everybody in the pen testing world knows January, February. I mean, there were years we had minimal billable work. So finally March comes around, and you offer me a letter. And I look at it, late March, mid-March, somewhere in that.
But just to be clear, what we do is we draft an offer letter, and it says, here's the job we're going to give you, and here's how much we're going to pay you. And for Nathan, it was how much he had to pay us. And who you report to and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It actually is the
normal
draft. It's a draft given to us
by Insperity,
which was the PO we were using back then. And they gave us this, like, you have to use this. We've only changed one thing on it.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yours probably still had the old
Mine was the very first one. You had just gone to Insperity.
Then
mine was the very first one.
And it said, instead of saying, you're going to make $20 a year, it said,
you get 40.
You're going to make this much, whatever it is.
It was every pay period or something.
Every pay period. And I argued with them because it's like, why am I going to give an offer letter to somebody and it's going to make them have to do math to figure? Exactly. Nobody says, how much do I make every 2 weeks? They say, how much do I make a year? And Insperity was like, no, you have to do it this way because if you hire somebody and then it doesn't work out and they leave before they've worked there a whole year, they could sue you for the rest of the money. I'm like, no, they can't. Theoretically, they could file the suit. Fuck you. No.
There's the explicit tag.
No, we're not going to. Like, that's stupid.
Well, hopefully we would never offer a letter to somebody that is the kind of person that would do that.
Right.
But anyway, back to the story. So I get this offer letter, and it says, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. We'd love to have you. We want you to start on Monday, April 1st.
Yeah.
And I look at, I think it was my wife that caught it first. She's like, wait a minute.
Like my wife is smarter than us.
Yeah, no, it said Sunday, April 1st. That's what it said. Sunday, April 1st. And she said, wait a minute. Sunday's March 30th. Monday's April 1st.
Yeah.
And so I had to write back to Kevin and Laura. I think it was Laura at the time. She was handling that.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, so I've got a question. Was this a mistake? Or a typo? Or has this been an elaborate 3-month-long April Fool's? Because let's be clear.
I wish it was. I don't know. I just wish it was.
I would have been okay either way, right? Like, I would have been like, oh my gosh, this sucks, but it's the funniest story I'll ever tell.
Oh, yeah. Now, did you go on site the very first day?
No.
Okay, so that's what the Sunday part was for people to know.
Yeah.
Many of our staff, they will start, and because we typically wait so long to hire and stress so much about it, we tend to hire people that they have to hit the ground on a job.
Yeah.
Like, you start on Monday, and guess what?
You're on site.
Many of our consultants that we've hired over the years, their first day is actually Sunday because they're flying on site. And what I don't want to do is say, okay, your first day is Monday, but on Sunday get on a plane, and God forbid something happens because you're not our employee at that point, right? Like, so we hire people on Sundays sometimes, and that's what happened with your letter. But
usually we get the date correct at the same
time.
time.
Normally we get the date correct. No,
it was just a year off.
Yeah. When I started, I had a broken leg. Because like 3 days before I started, I broke my leg. I called you from the ambulance on morphine.
It was a bad idea.
Bad idea. Never call your boss that you're starting the next day. The next week.
High on morphine.
Yeah. So it was my second week.
Hear the siren.
I'm like, do you think I should call Kevin? And my wife's like, no, don't do it. And then she looked over, she's like, what are you doing? I'm calling Kevin.
I just asked.
But the second week, we went on site to Parts. Parts was their code name.
Yeah. First time we've ever had to say to a customer, the room you're putting us in, is it accessible?
Yeah, right. I was on crutches. I mean, I had a broken leg.
Yeah.
I was doped up heavily. And that's when the naked midgets showed up. I don't know if you remember.
Yes. Okay. Naked midgets. God, that is an awful awful phrase. We were working an overnight pen test in this building,
which is a stupid idea.
It's a stupid idea. Don't take us two. Like, out of the four of us, okay? Mature, responsible people.
Fun.
Whacked. And so Nathan and I, the client would let us in at like 7.
Yeah,
or something,
8
right?
p.m. after everybody else had left.
Everybody left. Client would let us in, and then they would sit there for most of the night with us
until like 5 a.m.
Until like 5 a.m. And now you're sitting in this conference room, and there's glass windows, right, looking out across, and you just see desks and cube walls that are low and chairs, and off in the distance, maybe like 5, 6 rows, 7 rows that way, there was a computer, and every night you could see the screen start. Things, windows open, close, but you didn't see a person, right? So I think it was Druggy over here who notices it, right? Like, what is that? And I'm like, jeez, I don't know, right? Like, what is that going on?
It had a tall chair. There was a tall chair, in front of the screen, so you couldn't see the whole thing.
And then, so we decided that it was a not quite tall enough person for us to see.
Midget's not appropriate.
I don't know. What is the right word?
Little people?
I don't know. I'm trying to be offensive.
Doug, the shortest guy in the room, says...
Look you just got.
Doug's dying. Hurt his feelings.
He's walking away.
So, it's his birthday, and you just problem.
So, Nathan decides, I think it was you, decided that it was a small person, and then...
I don't know where it went downhill from there.
I get that.
Somebody went. No. So somebody walked to the bathroom.
They were invisible at some point.
Somebody walked to the bathroom and there was nobody in the chairs. But obviously there was somebody in the chairs. So they must be invisible. And somebody then said, "Well, if they're invisible, why would they wear clothes to work? So they're naked, invisible." Small person, right?
Did we mention it was late at night?
It was very late at night.
And you were on drugs.
And I was on
drugs.
Medication.
Prescribed medication.
Yes, that was great.
So security is in 2010, August of 2010, was 3.
Yeah, so...
Frank, Denise, and me.
Okay, 3.
And I, whatever.
And then it was 2 and then 3.
And then it was... No, it became 4 and then 3.
Okay.
And then we hired a few people, and some people worked out really great and left to do other things. Other people did not work out so great. Whatever, right? Not everybody.
And left a lot.
Some people went to
a lot faster.
Some people went to sell gift cards on Amazon.
I replaced one of those.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Jason started shortly after I did.
Yes, Jason started,
a few months
and
later.
we're now 24 and hiring.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
We were at 25, but that's because we had an intern over the summer. So.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a good intern, though.
Ryan is awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan is awesome. Matter of fact, I'm hoping that when he
hope
this
he'll
is
come
his
back.
second summer, when he graduates, we're hoping to hire.
Yeah.
And so we're 24 people now.
24.
And Jason is an owner. Jason owns the company, Denise and I. And then Eric and Nathan are principals and help run the place. Staff will find out tomorrow that they now report to Nathan and Eric.
That's a good way to tell people.
Since they're sitting around,
eyeballs just looked like, what?
Not everybody does. So some people are going to be surprised, but not everybody.
Yeah. And we're doing a lot of fun
Hold
stuff.
on, I have to put it on Facebook so Nathan knows about it.
Yeah.
So Nathan, Facebook thing. Oh, let me explain. So when I started, we were all remote. There was no office. There were 4 consultants. We were all remote. We worked from home, and at some point, a couple years, year and a half.
IRC is how we did.
Yeah, we had our IRC channel. We had
it ran on Freeport.
Yep, we had a VPN. Yeah, what was the rest of our servers? We had
Toro was the main server you came in.
But our
Transformers. But your Transformers.
So wait. Toro was SSH, not a VPN. You SSH
you're right.
and did port forwarding to get to a file share, which was NFS, and to an IRC server that Jason
Drive.
Wood.
We used Expand Drive app on
it's automatic to mount it.
Yeah.
And then our main primary name servers were, and I still think this is the best server naming we ever did, are primary name server was Optimus, and our secondary name server was Prime. And
But where was
I
Megatron?
giggled every time I ran them. They ran out of my house.
Yeah.
They were
Seriously, because we didn't have an office.
Toro was an e-machine. Like, it was like I bought it on sale at Walmart or something like that, and it sat on my desk, and it was how everybody got into the office, and then we had we had Sugar CRM running on that box.
The free version, the open source Sugar
the open source,
CRM.
the open source version.
Oh gosh!
And
remember when we switched to Salesforce? The migration of that sucked so bad.
God, yeah. And then the migration out of Salesforce.
That actually wasn't so bad. It was what we were migrating into, which I don't know.
We're not
going to get there.
And then and now we went over to Insightly.
Let's not enumerate all of the
technology
systems that we use.
Let's be very clear. If you are interested in secure ideas and you are at all technical and you don't know we use HubSpot now, you're not paying attention.
That's a good point.
So yeah, we ran a whole bunch of servers at my house, and
the Facebook deal. So
yeah.
Eventually, like after a year and a half or so, we opened an office, and you and James moved into the office, and we hired. We started the Scout stuff then. We hired some people. We didn't start it, but
we hired Donna and Andrew to take over the Scout stuff, and so it was called My Security Scanner.
MySecurityScanner.com.
Don't go to that website; it's a Chinese shoemaker or something now.
We looked today.
Yes, today we looked it up.
So we opened the office, and I think Jason and James became principal at some point, right in that time frame.
No, it was after that, but
but in that time frame.
Yeah.
So at that point, Jason and I were the only remote people.
Yeah.
And so like we just weren't included in stuff. And then Jason,
Tom was there too.
And Tom was there, but he was in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he was in Jacksonville. But part of the problem is, and anybody who's ever worked with me knows, I suck at being a manager.
That's fair.
I joke and say I'm a line and site manager. Doug used to have his desk sitting across from me. So Doug got assigned everything.
Yeah.
Now Kathy has the worst desk in the office. And Jason did point out that Travis should be concerned because I can see him from my desk, but it's an awkward seat. Like I got to turn this way to see Travis. So he doesn't get assigned as much. But I walk around that corner and Kathy's right there. I told her when she picked this, I'm like, okay, that's your desk, but you might want to face...
This is a bad idea.
Yeah, you might want to face the other way. But she turned to her, I walk around and she's like, yes. I'm like, damn, you're in trouble.
She'll learn. Give her time. She'll learn.
Yeah, she'll move.
But yeah, so for like 2 or 3 years, because at some point Jason got promoted to principal, and then there were several years where I was the only remote person not in the office or a principal. Like because you guys had principal meetings regularly, I was the only senior consultant out of the office, and
it's Nathan.
Things would happen, decisions would get made, and it would get posted on Facebook, and that's how I found out about it. Like I found about people were being hired, people were being, like all this stuff was happening.
To the point where when James, not Jardine,
the other James,
the other James, who doesn't like himself being published, I'm not saying his last name.
Yeah.
When we hired him, you had recommended him. Guy you knew, and I was in
Tulsa.
I was in Tulsa, right?
Yeah, we were sitting across the desk. We were at a bank in Tulsa
with Chewy's head on the desk.
Yeah.
Right.
Chewbacca.
Halloween, and James called me and accepted, and to this day I'm so upset that I let you know he had accepted instead of logging into Facebook and posting it and tagging Nathan across the table from me. I'm still mad I didn't do that. So yeah,
I'm still waiting for that notification when Securities mentions that all the principals have gotten Teslas.
And you don't have one yet?
I keep expecting. I'm expecting that notification to look out my window and be like, "Wait, what?"
Nathan's upset because last year Jason and I got Teslas and Nathan did not.
Company cars.
I will point out that Eric is the person who got the first Tesla in the company.
Yes.
This is that big.
Okay, Matchbox made it, but it was an awesome Tesla. Was it a Tesla?
It was a Tesla.
Model S too, wasn't it?
No, it was a Roadster.
It was a Roadster. He got a Roadster.
I got a Roadster.
Yeah.
Gen 1 Roadster.
Yeah.
Even.
Okay, so let me ask, Jason. This popped into my head. I'm curious. I'm going to ask all. I was going to say all 4 of you, but
luckily he's first.
All 3 of us.
Yeah, give us time to think.
Favorite pen test or engagement you've done in the time you've been here?
Oh, gosh.
Favorite.
Yeah, I'm asking the question because I
know mine.
Okay, then you go first.
So, all right.
Because you don't have one yet, right? You got to think about it.
I got to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
So this is going to seem strange for me because it was actually
not
a web
a
app
Windows
pen
box.
test. No, it was a web app pen
web
test.
app pen test. Oh, yeah.
It was my first black box test.
The reason the web app ones are exciting for him is because whenever he sees a network,
it's too
it's
easy.
like
It's just
oh,
too easy.
they got Active Directory. The network bends over and he has its way with it. Like, it's just,
You know that Eric is a domain admin on every Windows network. He just hasn't logged in yet.
it's a backdoor.
Now you're giving away my secret.
I always tell people that Eric knows AD better than Microsoft does, and he's not an MVP because Microsoft's embarrassed at how fast he gets.
Oh yeah, I've told people that Bill Gates first invented Active Directory after finding a cocktail napkin that Eric had written some notes on.
All right, what was the web app pen test?
The web app pen test.
Black box. They said all we're going to give you is this IP address. When Jason was on this test with me, I had started it, and I log in. I don't even log in because they didn't give us that, but I connect, and I see all this interesting information, and then just a little bit after that, Jason and I have pretty much just taken this entire thing and we found everything on OWASP in this one web application. It was like, we got that one. And we got
Was this
that
a
one.
financial app?
It was a financial
That
app.
was my customer.
It was my customer.
This was a company. They're like, we've never had a pen test before,
never had.
but our developers are really good.
And this
and
console,
we're sure.
this console is so secret. We can't give you any information except the IP address.
Yeah.
By the way, you connect it over HTTP. And
You got admin like without credentials or anything, right? Like
Yeah,
you were able to bypass and get
Wait,
admin
well,
console.
The only
what
thing
was
we
the-
couldn't prove was insufficient logging.
But
That's a fairly safe bet because they never noticed what was happening, right? Like,
yeah.
What I always love is when you're doing a pen test and you're 2 or 3 days in and you get that email from the customer. Like you've been sending it. It's like, hey,
How's it going?
how's it going? It's like, well, would you like me to leave some files on your desktop?
Wait, good for you or good for me?
Yeah, that's always the bad one, right? How's the test going? Oh, it's going great. Oh, so we're secure. Oh, no, I meant. I'm sorry. I'm having fun.
So yes, that was actually probably my favorite one still today. That was an interesting one.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I don't know if I could pick a favorite. Like
Hard to pick
one of my favorites, I think, was Fabric. It was a clothing store.
Really?
And, yeah.
I don't know what.
Why do we call them Tile?
Yeah. So they, it was a PCI test. They were worried about PCI, but we found out there was some more concerns. Like they were really quiet about certain stuff, and I didn't quite understand why.
Oh, this must be the number.
I always love
This
when
is
customers
the numbers.
quiet.
Well, no, I mean, like they didn't want to talk about it via email. We'd send them stuff via email, and they'd call back, right?
Yeah.
And so we go on site, and we're doing this test. Come to find out later, to get to the spoiler, they were getting ready for a big merger, and they didn't want they didn't want details discoverable, so they didn't want it going over email. They wanted to talk to us on the phone. Okay, whatever. Well, they were worried about credit card data and passing PCI compliance and all that. And long story short, I got onto a mainframe. I don't remember what kind it was, and
It was a main frame.
it was a mainframe. Yeah, right. One of the big ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was it
Heavy
not?
ones?
Was it one
Yeah,
where you had to
yeah.
like do somersaults, cartwheels, and everything in the server room to get on top of it?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Travis is right. It was the primary one.
Primary mainframe. It was probably IBM, I'm guessing.
Good choice.
So we get into it, and I'm downloading files, and I'm seeing stuff, and I mean, I'm just not finding anything. And finally, I open this one file, and it's 16-digit number, comma, number, point number, right? And I'm like, and it's rows and rows and rows, and I'm like, man, that looks like credit card data,
Yeah.
right? Like that looks like credit card data, but all I've got is, I mean, this could be an amount, but there's nothing else. There's no,
CVV,
expiration,
there's no
CVV,
expiration.
any of that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. And so I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I think Tom was with me. I think Tom was like, no, I know what it was. We left the customer site and we're at Chick-fil-A and we're trying to think through what this could be. And he's like, it's gift card data. And I'm like,
Because
no.
let's be very clear. When you hear we went to Chick-fil-A, Secure Ideas does not require our consultants to go to fast food restaurants for dinner. Nathan just likes Chick-fil-A.
I was celebrating at that point. We'd gotten access to some other stuff, and I was having myself a cookies and cream milkshake. I was so thrilled. But we realized it's gift card, and I thought, no way. And so like I grabbed my bag, I pulled up my laptop, and I'm like, I think you're right. And so I went to their website, and they had a check your gift card balance.
Yeah.
And I put in a 16-digit number. There was no authentication, no confirmation, whatever, and it came back with the same value.
Yeah.
And I'm like, immediately I had this dread. I'm like, oh crap, I downloaded the whole file. Like I'm like, oh crap, and I go look at it.
Are
and
you
he's like,
PCI compliant?
well, that's the thing. It wasn't PCI. It was not related to PCI because it was gift cards. They didn't care about that. But it was like 30,000 lines of credit cards. I added it up. It was
Gift cards.
gift cards. $6 million worth of gift cards with no authentication. Like we could have dressed really, really nicely. And nobody ever would have noticed.
You could have gotten that Tesla right then.
I could have. I don't think you can use gift cards for a Tesla.
You
but-
Why
return
not?
them.
Absolutely, yeah. You know what I mean?
Buy
Well,
the clothes,
You can
and
buy
buy
with Bitcoin.
because my fear
Not
was
anymore.
like, oh shoot, I have this file, right? Like this laptop is not leaving. Like
Yeah,
it's
no,
sleeping with this laptop,
It
right?
doesn't matter that it's encrypted and everything.
Oh yeah,
No, I'm
we
not losing that.
called the customer immediately and we're like, and to their credit, literally the next day by 10 a.m., the entire IT staff was crammed into a little room. And they said nobody's leaving today until this is
We're
fixed.
fixing this.
Like
Right
they
here.
addressed it. They did really good.
Yeah.
Again, come to find out there was a merger. They were afraid that was going to get out. So, but that was a fun one. That was
a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. I can think of like several cases where there've been unauthenticated APIs and that sort of thing. I mean, Carriage, the first one I did with you on site.
Yeah. That was the most expensive flight change I've ever done.
I remember that.
So I found
That
out
had nothing
that
to do with the test. But
I could get out Friday night. Jason could not. And I wanted to go home. I had been on the road. I used to travel more than any other consultant. You and I joked that you're the second most traveled consultant. And I regularly would book. I would get home Friday or Saturday and leave Sunday, and like I literally had suitcases packed, ready to swap when I got home. And I had an opportunity to go home a day early, and I said, "Done, I'm doing it." But it was like, what, your first job on site, your second job on?
it was my second because my first was with Tom.
Yeah, we talked about that one, and I didn't feel right leaving Jason on site, not on the client, but in a hotel in a city that, right?
Good luck getting home tomorrow afternoon sometime.
I also didn't feel right putting it on a company card for me to go home.
well, you didn't feel right billing it to the customer.
No, I didn't feel right billing it to the company.
Okay.
I put it on my personal card to change his flight to the next one. And he was pissed when he found out.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was like, I don't want to leave you there. Like, I'm leaving. I'm going home. I'm not. I don't want to leave you there. So yeah, I've learned. I don't put things on my personal card anymore. But yeah.
So going back to the favorite.
Yes.
Because I do have I thought of a favorite afterwards, which was not a pen test. It was a potential client was demonstrating their application to us.
Nope, you're wrong.
No?
They were already a client. It was
they
a
were.
security assessment. We were doing basically an architecture review.
You're talking in Denver.
Yes, we're talking about the one that we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement for them
Yeah.
to tell us the name of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like they were a
Super secret.
stealth mode startup.
Oh, this is a startup making like a software to protect
yeah.
networking software.
No, but yes.
Similar?
Yeah, let's just go. And they made us sign a non-disclosure agreement. Fine, and I signed the non-disclosure agreement because I'm like, I want to know. Like, this is going to be an amazing company name, and it wasn't. It wasn't. I feel like it was such a letdown. Where they're like, "Here's our name," and I'm like,
One of those companies spending more money on their lawyers than
yeah,
on developers.
exactly. Like, that's your company name? Yeah. We had to sign a non-disclosure agreement for that? Like, what the hell?
They were doing this thing.
Yeah, and the guy was talking to us about it.
He's talking.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, can you pull it up and show us?
Because he was describing stuff.
It's just describing.
It was everything we would recommend, right? Yeah. Like, this guy, if what he said was true, this was going to be the most secure app we had ever looked at or tested.
That's a big disclaimer.
There was a big if.
The problem, though, is I can't remember how
it was a 6-digit number.
There was a token.
So
you send a token and it sent back.
The customer of our client would give a token to their customer, and the customer would come to our client and type in that token and then answer secret questions to verify that it was them.
Right.
Right.
So experience questions like,
Your
You
knowledge-based
usually get you.
questions.
What was your the
What
make and
car
model
did
of
you
your
drive?
first car?
Yeah.
You know that
Renault
that sort of
Encore.
thing.
What high school did you go to?
Atlantic High School.
Those types of things.
What's your social
And
security?
it turns out that
Mine's public, so
Sorry, go ahead.
and the thing is then
God, it was-
Kevin had in front of him, he's like, it looks like there were the client's in the room with us, and he says, it looks like they're returning the answers to the questions in the response.
and I was like, this can't be true. Like,
So
Jason,
the question
can
was
you
coming
look at
back,
this?
and the correct answer was coming back.
Oh god, was it
And
like client-based
everybody-
authentication? Like
No, yeah, it would jump a JSON object.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No. I know.
It would jump a JSON that had the accounts, the amounts they had.
It was a dump
It was
based on
financial
this one
services
6-digit
data.
token, right?
yeah.
And this
Oh,
would
God,
be
it was
internet
awesome.
facing, and I'm like, and again, like this is, I'm usually very reserved.
No, you was your hair trigger.
Other than the temper.
And this time with the client in the room, I said, no, there's no way to be doing that.
And I slid the laptop over. Ooh. Yeah, I would say that was a good one.
That was
That
awesome.
was a good one.
That was
a good one.
Did you have a favorite?
Any test I do with you.
That's
Awesome,
understandable.
man.
That's
I
understandable.
don't.
Mainly
know that I
because
have-
they're in Tulsa and we have Burnco.
Exactly. If I can go to Burnco,
I'd
it's
like
awesome.
to point out, I don't think any one of us except you have been to Burnco. So,
I have.
well, yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we can pass that.
I've
I
told
think-
you about it, and
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Well,
Have you been to the noodle place in DC?
no, I don't think we went there. We went to some other places when
You
we
missed the noodle place in DC. So, okay, for the people who don't know, and Doug's already rolling his eyes over there.
I've been there.
You've been to the noodle place.
You didn't take me to the noodle place.
I don't know.
I don't know any
I can
place
give you
either.
directions to the noodle place. You get off the subway, you come around this way. When you get to 6, you take a right, and it's the second door on the right.
Is it on
There's a
Foggy
window.
Bottom?
That literally is how Kevin gives directions. And also why Kevin doesn't drive when we're on site together.
So for the people who don't know, there's two things. One, I'm a fat lazy guy, so I like food. And two, I never know where I am. I have such a bad sense of direction. And Doug, I'm sorry. Doug and I
gets
and
lost
some
in
people, I do get lost in hotels. Jason was in a room across from me, and every day we'd both walk out of the room. I'd go the wrong way, and he'd go, Kevin, and I would turn around and go the other way. Doug was explaining to somebody, I don't remember who it was explaining to them how bad my sense of direction was. And he said, now keep in mind, we were at the dumpling place in Jacksonville that is just awesome, Season's Dumplings. And it's in a little strip mall, and there are 2 lanes for cars to park. You can park here and here, here and here, right? That's it.
Wait, where were they?
Here and here, here and here.
Or
Yeah, go with
here,
it.
or
Yeah, exactly, right there. And Doug says, Kevin says his direction is so bad, he probably doesn't know where he parked. And I'm like, forget you. Of course I know where I parked. Like, yeah, I know where I parked. Son of a bitch, if I didn't walk out of that restaurant and go the wrong way to get to my car. And it was right there. It was like, you know, and Doug is just laughing behind me because
That's awesome.
I proved his point. I never know where I'm going. But Doug will also point out that I can tell you exactly where the noodle place is in DC. I can tell you exactly where the Thai place is in Vancouver. I can tell you exactly where the Thai place is in San Diego.
So you like Thai food.
The food,
Oh, I
yeah.
love Thai food. I can get you to the Indian. Like it's
What's
just
that? What's that taco place in San Diego? You know what I'm talking about? Near.
the one with all the tequila.
No, it's like a fish taco place.
Oh, I don't do fish tacos very often. So.
Yeah, they don't. They have more than that.
And Rama Thai is there, and the Indian place
Ask
is
them where
either
the Thai
named
place is in San
Yeah,
Francisco.
no kidding.
The taco place is just down the street.
San Diego,
Yeah.
not San Francisco.
San Diego, because I don't have any
Close to
place in
Simply.
San Francisco I want to go.
That's true.
But in LA, it's a place with the lemon sushi.
Oh man,
Yes, that was good.
with a little Japanese
Jalapeno?
tater tots.
Yeah, and the jalapeno on top. Too.
Oh,
So
All right.
it's all about
We're getting
So-
we're getting
converging really fast.
so my favorite pen test.
yeah.
I don't think I have a favorite. I will tell you that. I don't know. I really don't know. I will say that some of the favorite things I've done is more what I've seen and worked with you all. I mean, I can pull off some cool attacks. I've had some fun stuff. You know, there's the membership organization that was mostly worried about their member data, and we were able to download everybody's data in the registration field. There's the the casino where we downloaded all the tax records from.
I remember when I started.
The casino one was the one that messed with most people.
Yeah. You told me in a year from now, when I started, you said a year from now, you will not believe how many different things you've had your hands on.
Yeah.
Like how many different types of tests and technologies. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, sure, I'm sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea. Being a consultant, dealing with a different customer every week, sometimes every other day, sometimes every 2 weeks, like just the number of different things we've gotten to experience and play with and
I mean, we've done everything from power distribution and transmission systems,
airports,
satellites. That one was fun. Don't touch any of those features.
Oh, yeah.
Why? We'll lose access to the satellite. Like the real one?
I remember the first time I called my wife and she said, "Where are you at?" And I was like, "I'm looking at the White House." And she's like, "Oh, are you on a tour?" And I'm like, "No, I'm on the customer site looking at the window at the White House." Like she's like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's funny when I always love it, and this is one of the problems I hate with all the non-disclosure agreements we have.
Yeah.
Not that I just want to babble stuff, but there are some jobs I'm really proud of.
We should hire everybody.
We should hire everybody, and everybody should hire us.
Ooh,
and
that's a good idea too.
The thing that always blows my mind is the sheer number of things that I would like to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'll be clear, many of them are not because of the cool attack we pulled off, but because of the cool detection they did when we were attacking, right? And then how you figure out how to get back. I think one of the proudest things I am is that Bit9 threatened to sue us. I'm really proud that we've put some people in jail that were really bad people.
Yeah, with the FTC.
Yep, and the DOJ
lawsuits. DOJ lawsuits.
I am really, really happy that we've never missed payroll.
I think we're all happy about that too.
I think of all of us, I'm the most happy about this. Having had the most
payroll
paychecks
from us. And that's it. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I've worked at companies that
Sure.
I remember that I worked at a recruiting company. They put me at American Express, actually, where I met my wife, and the guy who was responsible for us back then, and we're talking a long time ago because I'm old, they brought us our paychecks every Friday. And the recruiter who ran Amex, American Express, which was where I was put for the Y2K stuff, his job was Friday morning, drive to every site that he managed and drop off paychecks. And he was a lazy SOB. Very often, he just wouldn't bother to show up on Friday.
Oh man,
And
we've never had that problem.
we've never had that problem. I've worked for other companies that I'm not going to name that I've literally gotten a phone call from the owner of the company that said, "I screwed up and forgot to do payroll this week. Can you make it until
Now we
next
have
Tuesday?"
hit limits on cards at inconvenient
We
times.
God. So we did
That time
find.
Jason couldn't buy pizza.
Yeah, we found out the hard way. Every one of our traveling consultants has a company American Express card, and Amex always says it's an unlimited card, unlimited card, unlimited card.
There's limits.
We found out the hard way that while yes, the card is unlimited, there are limits to what the card can spend.
Yeah.
And they're set. They're basically set so that like Jason can't decide. Ha! Screw ideas. I'm buying everything. And Jason would, and you were in. I think you were in Denver again.
Yeah.
And you were at the hotel, and a lot of times we would rent a house to stay at, or we would rent
Usually
those
smaller than this one.
Yeah, usually we don't bring 14 people into a place, and or we would rent the 2-bedroom hotel rooms where you had your own bedroom, but there was a living space you could sit in. And Jason would order pizza, and they denied the card. And like, what? That's not good.
It's like $16 charge.
Yeah, forget the $4,000 hotel reservation and everything else.
We just bought licenses for.
Since you mentioned that with Jason Wood, I have to tell this story because this cracked me up. DerbyCon, we rented a house and we're having a little get together, right? We're bringing all of our customers and friends and stuff. We're going to have a bunch of people over to the house. And so we went to whatever the grocery store was. And we'd already bought the groceries, we'd bought the meat and all this stuff. And it's like, we're going to go buy the alcohol, right? Some beer and stuff like that.
Yes.
Jason Wood had never bought alcohol before.
Ever.
He doesn't drink, and that was just not his thing. And so he was the one with the card. He was the principal for his very first alcohol purchase. It was like $300-$400 worth of. So he called his wife. He's like, guess what I'm doing.
That was a good one.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we have a good time. I think the biggest thing that we try to do is enjoy ourselves, help people, and I don't know, it feels stupid to say it, but making's better, right? Like if we come in and do a cool hack, like I said, the cool hacks are awesome, right? But the bypasses are awesome. I still say one of my favorites is, what was it, 2 or 3 months ago? Web app unauthenticated on the internet, and you get domain admin rights.
Oh yeah, that was,
Yeah, that was a good one.
For like
Yeah,
an
that was
international enterprise. That was huge.
Oh, it was you, right?
That was mainly Jason.
Yeah.
And
That stuff still happens.
Yep.
yeah, and you
Still
know,
happens.
pulling that kind of stuff off. I mean, and I'll tell you, as dumb as it is, the challenges Travis has been putting out for the weekly shit. With
I don't think that's dumb.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, like that.
Nobody solved.
Nobody solved. Yeah, you're right.
Nobody
There was
solved
like,
last
wasn't
one,
there one
Actually,
request
there
for
was
a
one person
hint?
that asked for a hint.
Yeah, no hints.
Well,
it's like capes.
That's neat though too. Like, if you look at 11 years of growth, like we went from here's a couple consultants doing some neat stuff to, I mean, now we've got marketing people, we've got graphic artist people, we've got people like we're able to post graphic artist person, not people. We're able to post weekly challenges on Facebook. We're the Tuesday tips things, right? Like we're able to say, hey, anybody that wants a T-shirt, send us something from a conference and we'll send you a T-shirt. Stuff like that. Like it's
How many of those do we still have those T-shirts? We're not out, right?
we have some. Let's not.
No,
promise.
look at me like
Doug
no,
says
we're not
no.
out.
No, we've got lots of T-shirts. I would say, can I say if anybody wants a T-shirt, they should
What's
message
that?
us.
Sure.
If you want a T-shirt, message us on
That
Twitter.
doesn't mean
Right?
you'll get
If we
one.
have any left, we'll give you one.
Doug is like, what are you
Let's be very
doing?
clear. Remember what I said about line of sight management?
While supplies last.
When we came
While
up with who
supplies,
did
yeah.
shipping, I saw Doug
Yeah.
first.
So here's what happened, right? Last year was the big 10th anniversary.
Gonna be
and
a big year.
We're being
Big
intentional
year.
about marketing.
We're gonna go to
We
conferences.
were organized in January.
Yeah,
Never happened.
Never happened.
Never
before.
happened.
I was like, you know what?
We are
Kevin
the
always
cause
makes
of
the
the
marketing
pandemic.
decisions. We're gonna be intentional. We bought swag. We bought thousands of T-shirts.
We did like invested swag. What is the best stuff we could think?
We spent time on it, and then COVID. And so like the whole
I
year
still
just
insist
went
we
to the
caused
crap.
it.
No,
Yeah.
Popeyes caused it.
Popeyes.
Yeah, Popeyes like challenged Chick-fil-A with the chicken sandwich. 2 months later, it's a worldwide pandemic.
So you're saying you're saying Popeyes messed with Todd's chicken? Or
That's
something?
exactly right.
Damn.
But no, so
That
this
was
year,
us.
yeah,
It
might
was
have
us.
been. No, but
That's why we
where
can't
was I going
plan
with
that much. We cannot plan that much ever again. Is what you're saying?
We never plan. The only person in our company that plans is your wife.
Just because I know what my vacation is next year now.
It's hilarious. We do,
We have Eric's vacation plans for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
From his wife.
And I'm like, my wife's like, hey, what are you doing next Thursday? Can we go on vacation?
Yeah, you know what that-
I've
yeah.
got time. Why not? Well, hey,
Anyway.
it's been 11 years. We've gone on a while.
We have.
Real quick, I'm curious, where do you guys see security is in the next 11 years? 11 years from now, it's 20.
Can you do
Help me
math?
with math. I can't do math. 32. 2032, says Doug. Where?
Damn,
what,
he's useful.
what do you see security is? What do you think? What do you think we'll be doing, or what will have changed between now and then?
I'll be dead.
Kevin will be dead. Fortunately, we have Keyman insurance.
I knew that
So
was
if Kevin
coming
is
up.
dead, the rest of us will still be okay.
I'll be retired on a beach.
Jason's retired on a beach.
But what,
In 11 years?
At 11 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'll,
No,
be,
let's-
you'll be in your 60s by then, right?
Yeah.
No, let's be very clear. Let's be very
That's
clear.
wrong to say, isn't it?
We've said it quite often. Jason and my plan is to turn this over to not us. Right?
Yep.
I mean,
Well, that's the secondary plan. The first plan is to sell out for $1 billion.
well, yeah. Anybody have $1 billion?
Anybody-
Call us up, right? Well, let me rephrase that. Have $1 billion and want to give it to us for secure ideas.
Fair enough.
Call.
We do have some big ideas coming.
We have some big things.
Are they secure?
They're big, secure ideas.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's be clear. Okay,
We can't
I think we can talk about a couple things. The Open SPK,
Open
Oh,
SPKs.
yeah,
that's
good.
right.
That hasn't been
So,
publicized yet.
one of the things we're working on is we're working on the paperwork for the Open Security Body of Knowledge. It's a
slow down.
Yeah, open Security Body of Knowledge. This is Kevin finally convincing Jason that I'm right and we need to do something about this. And that is
What is a body of knowledge?
A body of knowledge. It's a whole bunch of fat people talking about things, and as a fat guy, I'm allowed to say that. No, a body of knowledge. So here's the idea: is that it's very simple. IT and computer security, as far as I'm aware, are the only two industries where training and certification are run by the same company. So if you want, and I'm not bad mouthing anybody here. This is not right. If I want to get the OSCP, I'm going to go to Offensive Security to pay for it. If I want a GX certification, I'm going to go to SANS. I know they're two separate companies, but they're not.
They're not.
If I want my CISSP, I've got to go to, or recommended to go to an IC squared provider with across the board. If I want to be a nurse, I want to get certified as a nurse or licensed as a nurse, I can go to any training company that can train me to that standard.
There's a standard.
There's a standard
body of knowledge for that industry.
And so what we're doing is we're building a nonprofit. We've partnered with a bunch of people in the industry, and we're going to start releasing. The first beginning part of it is to create a list of job roles. Then we're going to create a list of what each job role is required to know. Not training, but what do you need? Like, oh man, to be a network pen tester 1 or something like that, I need to know how to do a port scan. I need to do this. I need to do that. Not here is how you do a port scan, but you have to know how to do a port scan. And then what that'll enable is that all the training companies, we do training, anti-siphon through Black Hills. You've got the Proctosec stuff with Tim Tomes. You've got all these people doing really great training. They're going to be able to say, okay, I've got this training class. Let's pick on Tim. Let's pick on Tim. Yeah. Tim Tomes has, my understanding, is a great web app pen testing course, and he has built this, and he'll be able to say, you know what? Here's what the course covers, and you know what? It covers what you need to be a web pen tester level 3 or whatever those numbers are, right? And so that
or if his course doesn't, he can modify it
to handle that.
Exactly.
Or he can do a pull request, because all of this is open source. It's going to be in GitHub. And he can do a pull request and say, hey guys, you forgot this and this. Oh, you're right. That's a great idea. We can accept it, or we can say, no, actually, right, whatever. And then he'll be able to say, I'm training you to that level. Mm-hmm. The final step is to actually release a set of certifications. And the goal of the certifications is to be as affordable as possible. Pulling a number out of my ear, what I'd like to be is each certification to be no more than $100, because I think that most people who are trying to get in an industry, $100 they could handle, and if they can't, the reason it's a nonprofit is so that we can collect money to cover the cost. And the certification cost, most of it's going to go to the organization offering the certification, not the nonprofit. It's we're trying to get it so that. Because here's the issue, and I'm not picking on anybody. I know anybody who knows me knows I have my rants. If you go to somebody who says, we have a skills gap, we have a people gap, Alan Powell has said for years, there's 47 billion jobs unfilled. I'm exaggerating. It's immoral, in my opinion, to know that cybersecurity is missing staff, to know that there are people who need jobs, and then to say to them, if you want to be in that position, you need to pay $7,500 for a class and another $1,000 for a certification. And I'm a greedy capitalist. We know that. I say it all the time. My business goal is to be protested by the Occupy movement.
Are they still around?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or to have BTS talk good about us. So
That's your wife's
Denise will be happy about that, right? Because she's Army, and that's awesome. And I love getting paid. I love the fact that we can make money because all of you stop complaining about your paychecks or something. I don't know. But the reality is, if we continue to go down the path where the cost of certification, the cost of training is increasing, nobody's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Look, security is knock on wood, pray our butts off, a successful, profitable security company. I can't afford to send you to a $7,500 class for every class you want to take. I can't do it. And if I can't do it with Jason and I, with a company that's making millions of dollars in revenue, if we can't afford to send you to $10,000 worth of training and certification, not even covering travel cost, how the hell can anybody else, right? And so that's what OpenSBK is trying to do. That's why we're trying to do it, is because we want everybody. Because other than the rest of you, I'm not that smart. If I can do this, anybody can do it. And if certification's the gate, let's knock it the fuck over. I don't know. So that's one of the things we're doing. I'm excited about it. Can you tell this is important to me?
I feel a little bit of passion in there
I
somewhere.
don't know about passion,
Passion,
but fuck it, it's important. So, that's one of the things we're doing. We're also expanding. We're growing. I don't want to talk about not yet. That's not.
We've got some other issues, some growth opportunities that are extremely exciting.
Yeah.
That we can't talk about yet,
No.
but in the next year or so, we're going to be making some announcements that are really
Probably
cool
the
to
next
see.
couple months.
Couple months. I'm
Being optimistic, but
optimistic, maybe, but yeah. So
I like
we'll see.
we'll see where that goes.
Crossing some new borders.
Well played, my man.
So.
And you know what? He didn't answer his phone a single time this time.
I know.
He hasn't done that in years, just to be fair.
We'll leave that.
I think that's a good ending point.
We'll leave that as
before he does answer it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it has been fun, and personally, I hope we don't have to do this again in 11 years. I don't know why. I hope we're all retired and that
Can
person
we
with $1
hope
billion.
that Secure Ideas is still around 11 years? I guess, maybe.
If we're all on beaches
We don't care.
with ridiculous amounts of money,
Yeah.
I don't
Let's be
care if
clear-
Secure
let's be
Ideas is still
clear.
around.
My hope is that if we ever sell this company to somebody who isn't the employees,
Sure.
that it is a life-changing event for everybody who works here.
Yeah.
So if you have that $1 billion, call us.
All right. It's been great, guys.
Thanks, man.